Okay, so this might be the most obvious list, or this might be the most controversial list. But hello, everybody. Hey, how you doing? It's me, Vincent. Welcome to another episode of Vincent Vision. And today, I wanted to make a video about ranking all of the roller coasters at Universal Orlando Resort. Oh, right, sorry. Wachow. I think this summer is the summer that people are going to be taking time out of their Orlando trips to visit Universal, and I think what sets Universal apart from a place like Disney World is that it has awesome indoor attractions, but it is also home to some very, very fun and thrilling roller coasters for all ages. So I wanted to do a little video ranking my favorite roller coasters at Universal Orlando. So this is not a best and worst list. I think every ride at Universal has a purpose and serves it well for the most part. Sorry, Fast and Furious.
Bruh.
But I do think that some rides are a little bit more essential to the Universal experience. So I want to rank my personal favorite roller coasters here at the park from bottom to top. There will be some honorable mentions at the end of this video, so let's just jump right into it. All right? There are about 7 full-on roller coasters here at Universal, from kids rides to big, big, big roller coasters. And right there at the bottom, number 7 is gonna be Woody Woodpecker's Nut House Coaster. I know, it sounds like I'm just like bullying the kids rides, but I'm doing all the roller coasters, okay? And out of all the roller coasters at Universal Orlando, Woody Woodpecker is the smallest. It only goes about 30 feet high. It's about a minute long, and it's really, really short. There are other better family-style roller coasters in the park, and I'll get into those a little bit later. But I think Woody Woodpecker just is right there at the bottom. It's in the back of the park. It's kind of hard to get to, and you know, there's not really anything else going on in that area. It's great for kids, but you know, I wouldn't actively search for it unless I really, really wanted to ride Woody Woodpeckers. Sorry, buddy. Number 6 is another family coaster, but it's over at Islands of Adventure. You might know what I'm talking about. It is Flight of the Hippogriff over in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. Now, this one is also a family coaster. It's a very short ride. It's designed mostly for small children with a 36-inch height requirement, but it does have a little bit more going on for like older riders. It's a little bit taller. It's a little over 40 feet. It reaches speeds of about 30 miles an hour. It's over in Hogsmeade, so you get a really beautiful, pretty view of the park from up there, and it's just really much better themed. You know, you're going through the forest, you see Hagrid's hut and things like that. You get a little bit more bang for your buck experience, but it just doesn't really compete with like some of the bigger roller coasters in the park, and it does get a pretty long line. It is one of the only sort of small Harry Potter rides that kids can go on. This is a ride with a 36-inch height requirement. This is the lowest height requirement in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, so because of that, it gets a lot of attention with families who have small kids, but I think it is a very cool family coaster, and like if I was there and it was like a 10-minute wait or something like that, I'd go on. Why not? It's super short, quick, easy, got a little spice to it, it's got a little kick to it. That drop kind of turns in really quick. Flight of the Hippogriff, number 6. Number 5 is going to be an interesting one, all right? This one is a little bit more personal of an opinion, and I know a lot of people might not agree with this one, but I think that number 5 has got to be Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket. It is a big roller coaster. It's a really, really big roller coaster. It is very, very attractive. When you see it, you come to Universal, it's 167 feet tall. It sticks out there. You want to ride it, right? Like, I don't blame you. It's Universal Studios' only big roller coaster, and if you're at that park for one day and just at USF, like, yeah, you're gonna want to do Rip Ride Rocket. But I think compared to some of the other roller coasters in the resort, it's just, man, it's just not that cool. I like the vertical lift. It's scary for a lot of people, and that is a really, really interesting thrill. But oh my gosh, Rip Ride Rocket is so shaky. It is so bumpy. I try to avoid it as much as possible. Oh my gosh. It has some cool elements to it. Like, please don't get me wrong. Like, I like being able to pick the music. I like the secret menu that they have, but I wish they updated it. I wish they rotated through songs and gave people a reason to come back and do that. And I'm sure there's some, interesting behind the scenes reason as to why they can't update those songs. But, that's just a feature of that ride that is kind of setting it back. And of course, like, the ride is just so shaky. It is so shaky, and the G's are really strong. This is probably the most uncomfortable big roller coaster for me here at Universal. I always get like a slight headache whenever I ride this thing, and it's just so shaky. It's just so shaky. It stops a lot too, so there's a lot of moments of the ride where something cool happens, and you can go down the big drop, and you do the loop, and then you stop. And then you go and you do that, and then you stop. And it's like, oh, okay, cool, fine. It's not my favorite roller coaster. I understand that it is a big one, and maybe some people might disagree on this, but I think Islands of Adventure just has the bigger, better roller coasters here at Universal. And I'm not saying you shouldn't ride Rip Ride Rocket, but like if you're pressed for time, I think you'll be okay if you didn't go on it. Number 4 is The Revenge of the Mummy. All right, I know this one's kind of weird. It's technically only half roller coaster, but it is just a wonderful experience. The queue is awesome. The dark ride elements are so iconic, and the roller coaster part's a lot of fun too. There's a lot of variety. Sitting in the front row is so much different than sitting in the back row of The Revenge of the Mummy, and I think that really does help. It is also pretty smooth in my opinion. There are a lot of sudden starts and stops, like you hit the wall and the scarab beetles come out and stuff like that, but like it's just a smooth, quick roller coaster all around. Me, I'm a sucker for launches. I love launches on roller coasters, and I love that Mummy's uphill launch right into a turn. If you're in the back row, your seat flies off so quickly. It is really, really great. And it's also very, very re-rideable. Re-rideability is a big thing for me, and I think this gives you just enough roller coaster and just enough thrill that you can go on this multiple times versus something like Rip Ride Rocket, where I ride it once and I'm like, I don't want to do this again because it is so shaky. So it's got to be Mummy. Mummy's great. Mummy's number 4. You made it, buddy. All right, so let's see. We're going to jump into number 3, and I think you can kind of feel where this list is heading because we are now shifting gears and we are over at Islands of Adventure, where the 3 biggest and best roller coasters at Universal currently exist. Number 3, though, is going to be... Ooh, this is tough. Am I going to back up? Am I going to say it? It's the Hulk. Number 3 has got to be the Incredible Hulk roller coaster. There was a point in time where Hulk was number 1, but I think the game has changed in the past couple years, and while Hulk was king for a very, very long time, there are bigger, badder, faster roller coasters out there in the park. But that does not mean that Hulk does not deserve the respect it deserves. That makes sense. It's an awesome roller coaster. It is great. It is super strong. It goes upside down 7 times. It shoots you out of a cannon at 40 miles an hour. It is one of the first roller coasters to shoot you out straight into an inversion. So it is still very, very intense, and a lot of people would call this their favorite roller coaster at Universal. It is awesome. It is designed to make you feel like you are turning into the Hulk and you're hulking out, and you get that feeling. It is a little shaky though, depending on where you sit. Sometimes you can get a little bit of a shaky experience, and it uses these really big over-the-shoulder restraints, which kind of smacks your head around a little bit. It's the same style of roller coaster as Kumba at Busch Gardens, which really shakes me up. But the Hulk did get a facelift in 2016. They actually took out the entire roller coaster and rebuilt it with new parts. It's still the same roller coaster as it was in 1999, but it's a lot smoother, and I think it's kind of losing that smoothness, but it is a very great, enjoyable roller coaster. Definitely one of the most essential, iconic experiences of Universal. When people talk about going to Universal, they talk about the Hulk roller coaster. So, Hulk, well-deserved, number 3. Thank you for everything you've done, but it is now time to focus on the new guys, the young guns in town. Number 2, I've had to think about this one for a little bit. This is a hard decision, but number 2 has to be Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure. in the wizarding world of Harry Potter. Hagrid's is a phenomenal roller coaster. It is one of the coolest roller coasters that I have ever been on, and it really is a story coaster is what they call it. They call it the world's longest story coaster when you see a billboard driving down I-4, and it tells a story as you go along the ride. And this roller coaster does so many cool things that like I've never seen a roller coaster do before. It's one of the most unique roller coasters in Orlando, and it's just an awesome experience all around. And what gives Hagrid's tons of points is that it is a thrilling experience. I would consider it to be one of sort of the big boy roller coasters in Universal, but it is still very, very accessible. It is great for families. It is 48 inches versus like Velocicoaster's 51 inches, Rocket's 51 inches, the Hulk is 54 inches. So if there are kids who are Harry Potter fans and they want a little bit of a thrilling experience, you can take them on Hagrid's and everyone will love it. And oh my gosh, if you sit on the motorcycle seat, it's so cool. You get to hold onto the handlebars and lean into it and vroom, vroom. Like it is awesome. It is so great. You know, it goes forwards, it goes backwards, it goes fast. My favorite thing about roller coasters, I love the speed. That launch at the end of Hagrid's, if you are sitting on the motorcycle seat and you get shot out at 50 miles an hour, it is awesome. It is a really, really great experience. I love falling backwards. I love the drop. There is rarely a bad seat in the house, though for something like Hagrid's, I personally prefer the front row. I think you just get more of the experience in the front row, especially since this roller coaster is so heavy on launches. This has, I believe, the most launches out of any coaster in North America. It's like 7 launches forwards and backwards. So if you sit in the front row, you get to go through, you go through all of them. That part where it goes all the way up and you fall back down. If you're in the front row, you go all the way to the tippy top and you fall all the way back down. It is a really awesome experience. And Hagrid's is a fantastic roller coaster. It is definitely the most popular roller coaster at Universal for a very, very long time. But there is a new king in town, and I think it might have been kind of obvious for some people. I was on the fence for a little while. I was stuck between this one and Hagrid's, but after going on it a bunch of times, I have now settled with the fact that the #1 roller coaster for me has got to be the Jurassic World Velocicoaster. Right? Come on. I always feel so bad being like, oh, the new ride is the best ride right now, because it just feels like I'm following the hype train, but it's fantastic. And Universal has outdone themselves again. Another major attraction that is better than the previous one. And the difference is, if Hagrid's is more of a family accessible thrilling coaster, Velocicoaster is like a roller coaster for professional coaster riders. This is probably the most intense coaster that I have been on here in Orlando, and I haven't traveled to any of the regional parks like Cedar Point or Kings Island and things like that. So I really only have experience with like the major like Disney and Universal and SeaWorld. I love Mako a lot over at SeaWorld, but to me, Velocicoaster is just balls to the wall thrilling. It is so fast. You go 70 miles an hour. That top hat, you fall over. This ride has something that a phrase that I was never really familiar with. Ejector airtime. The whole time the ride feels like it's just trying to throw you off the seat, and like, you know, Hulk and stuff like that, all these other roller coasters at Universal, the G-forces make you feel like, oh, like you're getting pushed in. Velocicoaster is like just pushing you out. It is really, really crazy, and honestly, it is such a fantastic experience from beginning to end. There's no brakes. The ride is fast the entire time, which is amazing. That first half of the roller coaster, you're doing all these winding twists inside the Velociraptor paddock, and then when you shoot out 70 miles an hour, it is insane. It is such an impressive ride. That full inversion is intense. That roll right before the ride ends is super, super intense as well. It is just awesome. The queue is great. You get to see the raptors. It is an awesome experience, and it's 51 inches, so like a lot of kids can ride it. It's not 54 inches like the Hulk, which is interesting because I think Velocicoaster is more intense than the Hulk, but I think it's more of like a restraint issue than it is like an actual ride intensity issue. So if there are adventurous kids who want to try their luck on the Velocicoaster, they can. And I think they'll be very happy or very traumatized because it is a really, really intense roller coaster, but it brings that thrill that I want at the theme park, something that I've never experienced before, and I'm sure that a lot of people are going to be really, really hyped to experience come June 10th. That's my list right there. And like I said, this isn't like a best or worst. These are just my personal favorites. These are just the rides that, you know, when people come to Universal and seek out these roller coasters, these are the ones that I think people are really, really going to be impressed with and that are going to be part of the Universal experience. I do have some honorable mentions though, okay? There are 2 rides that didn't quite make the list, and I thought about putting them in there because I thought it'd be funny to do, but gotta give it off to Gringotts. Gringotts is a half 3D simulator, half roller coaster ride. So, you know, it has some roller coaster parts. That first drop of Gringotts, if you sit in the absolute back row, it is so cool and so fun. Even though it's only like 25 feet, give or take, it's still very, very cool, you know? And Dudley Do-Right's Ripsaw Falls, which I'm 99% sure that drop portion of the ride is like built on a roller coaster track, because that thing rips. That's a really fun water flume. I think it's my favorite water flume type ride, and I think that drop is really what makes it fun. So those 2 get little participation trophies because they are some sort of roller coaster, but those 7 that I talked about, those are the actual full-blown roller coasters that they have here at Universal, and they're really great, and you should ride most of them. But yeah, that is all I got. So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you guys liked it. Do you guys agree with my decisions? Do you beg to differ? If you do, please leave a comment. I would love to hear your thoughts. If you liked this video, give me a little subscription. Go ahead, subscribe. I'm gonna try and do more videos like this in the future. So if you like this one, there'll be some more. But until then, that is all I got. So thank you guys for watching. Vincent Vision, and I'm on a roller coaster. I'm a Velocicoaster. I'm holding on for Velocicoaster because Velocicoaster is very intense. I'm not gonna stick my hands out. Oh no, wait. Bye bye.